friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hi everybody and welcome to episode 94 of the Culture Bucket podcast. Hello.
That was perfect. What's wrong with you?
I'm trying to make it rhyme.
Ah.
Hello. Welcome to episode 94. This is your best podcast.
What is this thing about rhyming
It's
now
just
that you have?
fun. It's a fun little challenge.
It's not fun. It's fun when it's natural, not when you're trying to find a rhyme.
This is episode 94.
Start again.
You're going to have a good time. No, I won't start good. That's the start.
This is episode 94 is going to leave you in awe.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like a
What?
white person rapping.
Well, I guess that statement is true.
My name is George, and I'm here to say I like to host podcasts in a comical way. Okay.
Yeah.
If it wasn't clear, this is the podcast where two best mates do a podcast where they talk about all their best pop culture stuff, like films, etc., music, etc., video games occasionally, etc., books, etc. This one is going to be a culture catch-up special, where we're going to talk about some of the stuff we've been looking at and reading and watching, etc., listening to in the past few weeks. And then next week we'll continue with our usual, our current run of specials where we're doing the Culture Bucket of our lives. Hope you're enjoying that. But for now, I'm going to ask you to rate us. I'm going to ask you to review us. I'm going to ask you to tell your friends, minions, nemesis, etc. about us. And if you'd like to do any of those things, you can find links to all of our social media channels and places to review us and somewhere to buy us a coffee if you'd like to on the Linktree page, which is linked to in the show notes for this episode. So please go there. Yeah, thank you for that. Let's go. Shall we go? Is it time to start?
Let's go. Good. Culture. But you didn't say hi to me. Though.
Hi, Alex.
Pretty sad. Hi, George.
How are you today?
Great.
Good.
How are you today? I'm good.
Good.
I'm very good.
I'm good.
Yes.
I'm George, and I'm good.
Hi, George.
Hi.
And you're good.
Yeah.
You don't sound good. You sound like you've got a frog in your throat.
No,
Are you sure?
I am a little bit poorly, I'm afraid, but it's fine. I'm gonna push through. I've got Lemsip. I've got a lemon and ginger and honey tea. I've got strawberry and watermelon squash in a jar again.
Oh, in the pickle jar. Nice.
In the pickle jar. Shall we start?
Yeah, let's do some culture catch-up.
Some culture catch-up.
This is Culture Catch-Up time. This is where we talk about what we've watched, what we've read, what we've listened to, and probably some other stuff. Culture Catch-Up time.
I've been mostly watching movies. Been watching TV a little bit, but I've been watching Parks and Recreation, which isn't really something new to talk about. But after how much we've enjoyed Aubrey Plaza and Nick Offerman recently in their various HBO projects, I decided to go back and watch some Parks and Recreation, and I love it. And it's mad to watch people like Chris Pratt, who I now find close to intolerable. And it reminds me why I used to really, really like Chris Pratt, because he's so very good and funny in Parks and Recreation. Something happened.
He became a movie star.
Yeah, he did become a movie star.
He's not the average Joe anymore.
No.
He's a muscular Joe now, and he's all Christian and stuff.
Yeah, which is, I guess it's fine. Just don't be annoying with it. Anyway, his father-in-law is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Weird, so weird.
I never...
You're
I
right.
never thought about that.
Yeah, well, he's married to
I know.
to Arnold's daughter, right? So
Yeah, but for some reason, I never put that his father-in-law is Arnie.
yeah.
Wow, that is
No.
pretty cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the only real TV I've been watching. I've been listening to an album. I've been listening to This Is Why by Paramore.
Oh.
Yeah, their latest album came out. And it's a bit of a banger.
Is it?
Yeah, well, so there's different schools of thought. I would say, hey, it's a banger. Hayley Williams seems more full of energy and excited to be with the band than I can remember. And the lyrics are the lyrics of someone who's in their 30s rather than someone who's a teenager like they used to be. You know, they've matured.
Yeah.
She's talking about not giving enough time to her commitments in life, and how that kind of is. She's a point where she calls herself a selfish prick, which is not a phrase you hear often in songs, especially from Americans.
No.
And it's a good album. It's got some good singles on it, and then some good mellower things that feel a bit like her solo work that she did, that was quite clearly inspired by the sort of Taylor Swift, Aaron Dessner era. Aaron Dessner's influence reaching far and wide, I feel. So that's what I feel about it. But you could also say this: Hayley Williams and co. pivot to jittery, crackling post-punk on their sixth album, but the monotone vocals and political lyrics don't always play to their strengths.
Oh. Is this Pitchfork?
That's what Pitchfork think about it.
Oh, I don't think they listen to albums. I think they just listen to like a couple of songs, because I've got an album that I'm going to talk about later, and it's a really good album, and the review is just ridiculous.
Yeah, bizarre. Anyway, it's a good album. The reason I read that out is because the vocals aren't monotone. I don't understand what they mean by that. I don't understand what they mean by it. What do they mean by that monotone vocal? She's using a whole rate. She's got a powerful voice, Hayley Williams.
Well, she only uses 3 words in the entire album.
What?
Well, just
This is why.
monotone.
This is why.
Is why.
This is why.
Is why.
This is why. Anyway.
Is why.
I think you should listen to it. I'm a big I love Paramore. We're going to talk about Paramore a little bit later in another episode. Next week you'll hear more about Paramore. But for now, I think it's a good album. People should check it out. I'm seeing them in a few months in Manchester.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they're supported by Block Party.
Oh.
Yeah, which is that's going to be a cool evening. And you can sense the Block Party influence on this album, you know, and that is mentioned really in that little Pitchfork bit, like the jittery, angular guitars and stuff. It does feel Block Party-ish at times in a cool way, but then you've got...
But it's a bit monotone, isn't it?
A little bit. Anyway.
I think they do a service to music, actually, Pitchfork, because every Pitchfork review I have read has made me like the album more.
I mean, that's what they want, really. Well, yeah.
Do they, though?
Well, when it's an album they like, such as SOS by SZA.
Yeah.
But when it's an album they don't like, such as This Is Why by Paramore, they gave it 6.3 actually, so it's not as if they hate it, but it's just, I don't know.
What isn't?
Shut up.
Yeah.
Not a 6.3, it's like an 8.2.
7.
8.7. Now I'm going to talk about some films. I'm going to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies that I've watched since we last recorded. I know, 5 movies.
That's
all of them 4 of them in the cinema, 1 of them at home. And what a movie that was. First of all, I'm going to talk about this movie. What movie do you think I'm going to talk about?
Knock at the Cabin.
Knock on the Cabin Door. Yes.
Is it not Knock at the Cabin?
It's called Knock at the Cabin. Yeah.
No.
Sorry.
Knocking
on cabin door. That's what it's called. Based on a book called The Cabin at the End of the World by an author called Paul Tremblay. I've not read that book, but I have read a book called Head Full of Ghosts that he wrote, that was a very postmodern take on the sort of exorcism type story, and what is one of my all-time favourite horror novels. So I would recommend going and checking that out just up top. But yeah, Knock at the Cabin, it's the latest from M. Night Shyamalan, adapted from this novel, as I said. Stars Dave Bautista.
Yeah. Love that guy.
That we know well from, Stuff, everything really. Stars Dave Bautista, stars Jonathan Groff, who people know as a voice in the Frozen movies, as the king in the filmed version of Hamilton. I think he originated the role of King George in that. He was starred in Mindhunter on Netflix. I like Jonathan Groff, he's good. We've also got Nikki Amuka Bird, who people would know from The Beach That Makes You Old, M. Night Shyamalan's previous film. Rupert Grint pops up for a bit. Yeah, because he stars in a show called Servant that M. Night Shyamalan makes for Apple TV. So he's sort of collected together some of his regulars, some people he obviously enjoys working with, and then some new people to his world, such as Dave Bautista, Jonathan Groff, to make this movie about two men who are in a couple relationship and they have a daughter, and they are staying in a cabin in the woods on holiday, and suddenly four strangers arrive at the cabin, knock at the cabin, and ask to come in, led by Leonard, played by Dave Bautista, and they quickly overpower the two men and the young girl, tie them up, put them in chairs, and then tell them, hey, guess what? One of you in the next day has to, the three of you over the course of the next day have to decide which of the three of you is going to die, and then the other two of you have to kill them. And if you don't do this, the world will end.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, indeed.
Dun dun dun.
Dun 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 dun.
So somebody's definitely going to die.
Well, that's the idea. But we all know that M. Night Shyamalan likes a twist or two.
Twisty.
Yeah, not that. Although don't take that as any implication as to what happens over the course of the movie. This film is mostly set in this, pretty much entirely set in this one location of the cabin and the surrounding woodland. It is not very action packed. It's not. It's not. You know, when it first came out over here, it was playing on like super screens and big IMAX screens and stuff. It's not a big. It's very well shot. I'm not Shyamalan. One of his biggest strengths is his cinematography. It looks gorgeous, but there's not a ton of action. There's a lot of monologues and there's a lot of talking, and there's a lot of opportunity for Dave Bautista to really demonstrate kind of how far he's come as an actor, because he's tasked with a lot of dialogue in this movie, and a lot of dialogue that's very like, you know, he's got this tone all the way through of like, I'm so sorry that I have to come here and do this to you, but it's the only way it's going to work, and we all got these visions. And he's just sort of describing and explaining and trying to justify all the way through the movie what they're doing, and he does it amazingly well. And again, M. Night Shyamalan, similar to Denis Villeneuve and other directors before him, Sam Mendes, understands that if you take a great big man like Dave Bautista and make him wear a little tiny pair of glasses, it looks good on camera. Because what a guy, what a man. Dave Bautista's so good. Glass Onion recently as well. He is the actor from the world of wrestling, in my opinion. I have time for John Cena. I don't have time for The Rock, but Dave Bautista is my number one. He's so good. Yeah. The movie overall is decent. It's not Shyamalan's best film, but it's very, very far from his worst film. I had a good time with it. I'd recommend people go and check it out. But yeah, you're mostly there for Dave Bautista. The one problem with it is the problem that was also quite apparent in The Beach That Makes You Old as well, is the dialogue. Shyamalan's dialogue is weird. There's a bit, this is very early on, so it's not a spoiler, where Bautista's turned up. He's talking to this little girl, and they suggest playing a game where they pluck the petals off a flower one at a time. And each time they pluck a petal, they can ask a question to the other. So, let's see. He plucks a petal. Oh yeah, he plucks a petal and asks her what her favourite movie is, and her answer is Kiki's Delivery Service. And I was like, yes, this is a good little girl. Yes. Then this
is my field.
Yeah, she plucks a petal and asks him why his hair or something, and he says, says something ominous to set up the movie. Then he plucks a petal, and he says, why do you have that scar under your nose? And she's got like a little hair lip scar here, you know?
Yeah.
And her response is to kind of look down and look a bit sad for a moment. And Bautista immediately says, and this is the clunkiest line of dialogue I can remember, he says, I'm sorry, Wen, that was too personal a question, even for this game. What game? What are you talking about, Bautista?
What
a weird thing to say. Even for this game. We all know this game. The appropriate questions are more laid back. And what are you talking? Even for this game. It's such an odd way to phrase. No human being would say that. I'm sorry, that's too personal a question. Even for this game. Anyway, the movie is littered with odd odd lines of dialogue like that, and you could either go, this is terrible, and it would turn you off the movie, or you just go, do you know what? Shyamalan is a weird master filmmaker that works on his own speed in his own world, and you just kind of go with it. And I kind of went with it, and I enjoyed it, so I'd recommend it. It was good. After that, I went to see a movie, the latest film from another often described master filmmaker, featuring the year's greatest comeback, Darren Aronofsky's The Whale.
Yeah. I have mixed feelings about Daniel Aronofsky. I think it's more of a miss.
I think
than
everyone
hit.
has mixed feelings about Darren. I think Darren Aronofsky has mixed feelings about Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah, I just feel like he has made some good films, but I think he has made a lot of bad films.
Well, let's quickly. He made a movie called Pi, which I haven't seen. Have you seen that?
No.
I've made a movie called Requiem for a Dream, which I haven't seen. Have you seen that?
Which is a masterpiece.
Okay. He made The Fountain with Hugh Jackman. Haven't seen that, but it's famously
haven't seen that one.
A bit messy. He made The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Which is, it's
I watched it once and I was like, okay.
It's fine. It's okay.
And then he made a movie we disagree on, Black Swan,
which
I think is great. You're not so keen. Then he made Noah, which I haven't seen.
No.
Then he made Mother with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
No.
Everyone hated Mother. I loved it. That's my that and Black Swan. I don't know. I thought Mother was amazing, but it wasn't. It didn't do well. Everyone hated it, and that was in 2017. He's not made a movie since until today. With The Whale. So yeah, he kind of makes, and also he's kind of settled into like The Wrestler, Black Swan. Not Noah so much. Maybe Mother and The Whale. Noah and The Whale. That was a Mark Kermode joke. I like it. Mother and The Whale and Black Swan and The Wrestler. He makes these films now. He seems to be attracted to making like character piece movies where, or character study type films. I don't quite know why he's decided that's his calling in life, but it seems to be what he keeps going back to. And yeah, so I kind of see what you mean. He's not necessarily, but he makes interesting films at the very least, even if they don't always work. The Whale is an adaptation of a play written by a playwright called Samuel D. Hunter. And the script for this movie was written by Samuel D. Hunter, adapting his own work, which is, I think, the first warning sign that all might not be well.
Okay.
It tells the story of a reclusive English teacher who wants to restore his relationship with his teenage daughter, because he's going to. He believes he's going to die, and the reason he believes he's going to die is because he weighs a lot. He weighs a lot. He's big. Brendan Fraser has got a big fat suit on in this movie. There's been discussions about whether it should have been made with someone of an appropriate size. The thing is, anyone who is of the size that Brendan Fraser's character is meant to be would not be physically healthy enough to make the film. It's a tough one because I don't really like fat suits. I hate Shallow Hal and Monica in Friends. That's kind of the. I don't like fat suits. I don't like that whole thing, fat shaming, etc. It's not good. It makes people feel bad. It makes me feel bad. I don't like it. But then this movie, if you're going to make this movie, that's kind of what you're going to end up having to do. And if you're going to cast anyone in this role, casting Brendan Fraser in a meta way kind of works because it's about someone who has become quite reclusive, and Brendan Fraser over the last few years, due to really serious trauma, physical trauma, mental trauma, abuse he suffered in Hollywood that he's talked about publicly, has ended up being quite reclusive for a few years, partly through his choice potentially, but also quite a lot through the choice of the industry around him. So seeing him return is great because I grew up, and you grew up, watching his films, and he's brilliant. And The Mummy Returns, that one about the man in the jungle. There are others as well. Looney Tunes Back in Action. His very memorable guest roles in Scrubs. He's good. He can do action. He can do comedy, and he's always been very good. And you see it in Scrubs at doing sort of melancholy melodrama tugging on the heartstring stuff. So he is the right choice for this role. If anyone is the right choice for this role, who isn't the size the role demands. So he's big. He's a big guy. He can't stand up without the help of a walker. He just basically constantly needs care and supervision. Most of that comes from his best friend, played by Hong Chow, who you will know as the lead assistant to Ralph Fiennes in The Menu. You know, that actress.
Oh, yeah. I really like her.
She is phenomenal in this movie. That's the thing about this movie. I don't like this movie, but Brendan Fraser is incredible in it. Hong Chow is incredible in it. Sadie Sink, who plays Max in Stranger Things, plays Charlie's daughter in this movie. She's very good in a role that is very difficult because I don't want to. It gets into spoiler territory, but good lord, the character she plays in this film. And yeah, the entire movie, because it's based on a play, takes place inside his house, in his apartment. And characters come and go, primarily his daughter, his friend Liz, played by Hong Chow, and a character called Thomas, who is a sort of Jehovah's Witness, but not a Jehovah's Witness, because he's from some sort of religious cult that is invented, I think, for the film. If they exist in real life, I don't know about it, and I'm sorry, but it seems like it's a cult that exists for the purpose of the movie. He turns up at the very start of the film to try and recruit, as it were, Brendan Fraser's character. Okay. And then he keeps coming back throughout the movie, and this is the problem with the film, is because it's based on a play, there's about 5 characters in it, because in a low-budget play, you'd have 5 actors.
Yeah.
And the characters keep turning up again and again when they don't have any real reason to, and it doesn't really make them feel like real people. It makes them feel like they exist to be a symbolic of something for Charlie, Brendan Fraser's character. And ultimately, that's what I didn't like about the movie, is not so much about the fat suit and all that stuff, although that does make me feel a bit uncomfortable, but the film itself is very, very maudlin and obsessed with the like symbolism and what things symbolically represent, and things having more meaning, characters attaching more meaning to things than any real person in real life ever would. There's an essay that Brendan Fraser's character reads over and over again, and the result, the ultimate, like, this is what the essay was about, or who wrote it, you could have guessed from the start. It's not a particularly interesting twist, and no one in real life would be that obsessed with one particular thing in their life, if that makes sense. But because it's a play, or because it's based on a play, it represents some. It just felt stagey, and I didn't care for it. The Whale is not for me, but part of me hopes that Brendan Fraser still wins an Oscar for it, because I think he's very good. He's doing the absolute best job he can in the film, and the shortcomings are to do with the writing and the direction and stuff, in my opinion. Yeah, that's The Whale.
Yeah, because the best thing I've heard about it was the acting in it, but did you not find the emotional connection between the characters? Because I've heard it's quite upsetting as a film. Is that?
Yeah, it is.
Did you find that?
Yeah, it's very upsetting, because there are people that just treat Charlie awfully. So yeah, there were bits and pieces that are upsetting, and it does tug on the heartstrings at times, but as a whole, it just doesn't come together for me. Yeah. You gonna watch it?
Yeah, I guess at some point I will. Like I said, with Aronofsky, I'm just a little bit. It's just a little bit too much sometimes, that it just like what you're saying makes sense in other movies that he's made.
Yeah,
there's just too much. Maybe trying too hard to make symbolisms out of stuff, but then losing the point or losing the trajectory of the story.
Yeah,
so,
which works for me sometimes, but just didn't work for me at all in this one.
Yeah, I would like to watch it, I think, but I'm not going to rush to the cinema.
Yep. Next, I watched on Shudder, streaming service Shudder. If you have access to that, I watched the latest movie from Neil Marshall, director of Dog Soldiers and The Descent and Doomsday. Some films I enjoy very much. The Lair, The Lair, which is about a pilot played by Charlotte Kirk who crashes in the desert somewhere and finds an abandoned Russian base full of monster things, and she recruits a group of soldiers to go and fight the monster things. One of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Worst or best?
Worst. Awful. Absolutely abhorrently terrible. Upsettingly bad for a director that's made some good stuff in the past. To see, like, incompetently made, not just bad, like poorly made, like very poorly made. The action is so badly shot, the lighting is bad, the cinematography is bad, the special effects are bad. It's all just deeply terrible. I only mention it really because normally I'd watch a film like this and not bother bringing it up on the podcast. I mention it because anyone who's interested, go and read about the relationship between Neil Marshall, the director of this film, and Charlotte Kirk, the lead actor. They are in a relationship, which is fine. There was a big age gap between them, but whatever, they can do what they want. But Neil Marshall made the Hellboy movie that David Harbour is in a few years ago, and Charlotte Kirk had been sort of somehow involved with a producer of that movie who tried to get Charlotte Kirk cast in the film. Another producer on the film who kind of had say over casting saw that she's a bad actress, so refused to have her be in the film. She then met Neil Marshall, who fell in love with her immediately, and Neil Marshall tried to get her a role in the film, and again the producer said absolutely not. And Neil Marshall, apparently, there's a quote somewhere in some article I read, announced in frustration that he will now dedicate his life solely to making movies starring Charlotte Kirk. And the first of those movies was called, what was it called? It was about a witch. I haven't seen it, but it's supposed to be awful. What's it called? The Reckoning. About a witch played by Charlotte Kirk, meant to be bad. And then this is the second collaboration between the two, which she's like helping to write it and produce it and stuff. The Lair, which she stars in, abhorrently bad, and she is awful in it, this actress. And up next is Duchess, another collaboration between the two, which is like an East End Cockney gangster movie, which will probably not be good as well. Just fascinating. This is a guy who, he made Dog Soldiers, he made The Descent, Doomsday, Centurion's going to be quite good as well. And he just seems to, and he did a couple of episodes of Game of Thrones and a few other quite good episodes of TV. And he just seems like he's decided he wants to entirely pivot into making bad movies with this lady that he's sort of fallen for.
But is she a bad actress?
She's I don't like to be unfair and cruel on people, but she is awful.
Wow.
She is unrepentantly terrible in The Lair. And she wrote it, and the worst thing that is the dialogue. It's just shocking. And I think it's Vanity Fair. If you look up Charlotte Kirk Vanity Fair, listeners, there is quite a long article about how her involvement in various things led to I think the CEO of Warner Brothers needing to resign, and some other big Hollywood producer had to resign because they got involved in some kind of sex scandal with her. No judgment on her personal life or anything like that. She can do whatever she wants, but as a professional actor and writer, I was stunned to see that movie exists, because it's stunning. Anyway,
stunningly bad. It
will not be in recommendations at the end of the episode. Although that Vanity Fair article probably will be, because you should read that. That's the only thing you should do from The Lair. Anyway, that's The Lair. Don't watch it ever. It's not even in a so bad it's good way. Just don't watch The Lair. Just don't. Moving on to a film which, according to, when did it come out in America? Good Lord. Okay, came out last June in America, but only just came out in the UK now, but premiered at some film festival in 2021, so Wikipedia names it a 2021 film, which is bonkers. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. This is a sort of faux documentary, stop-motion animated movie. It's been nominated for Best Animated Film at the Oscars, and I think maybe the BAFTAs as well. Directed by Dean Fleischer Camp, who kind of stars in it. Written by Dean Fleischer Camp and Jenny Slate and Nick Pally. You know Jenny Slate, don't you, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do.
And Jenny Slate voices Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Apparently based on a series of web shorts that Dean Fleischer-Camp and Jenny Slate made together years ago. They used to be married. They're not married anymore, but they still made this film together, which is, we can all be glad that they did because it's good. Follows the adventures of Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, who is discovered by Dean, who his relationship with his wife has gone badly. And he's moved out of his home and he's now staying in an Airbnb. And in this Airbnb, he discovers a tiny little 1-inch tall shell wearing shoes called Marcel, voiced by Jenny Slate, who he then decides to make a documentary about. And the movie ends up pivoting into being an attempt to reunite Marcel with his missing family and discover where they are. Most of the film is pretty much just Dean following Marcel around this house as he kind of explains his philosophy on life. And spends time with his only remaining family member, who is Nana Connie, voiced by Isabella Rossellini, who has an Italian accent because Nana Connie grew up in the garage and not the house. And it's a very sweet, pleasant, lovely little film. It is a PG and it is a children's film in some ways, but it's very much like it's like a Ghibli film in the way that it doesn't try to be flashy and fast, and it has faith in children finding the joy in something without it needing to be kind of fart jokes and jumping around kind of thing, and that makes it really appropriate for adults as well. I really 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 enjoyed it. It's just got some very good. There's a one of the best jokes early on is where Marcel is demonstrating to Dean how he gets around the house, and one of his methods of travel is he's cut a hole into a tennis ball in a way that it's a little door, and he gets inside the tennis ball and then just rolls around the house bumping into things, and that's very funny. And then he shows how he's constructed a rope, he's hung a rope between the window and the tree outside so he can get to this tree to get the fruit off it, and he kind of slides along the rope in a shoe, and Dean says, "Where did you get this rope from?" And Marcel goes, "Oh, I'll show you." And he leads him to the bathroom, and he goes in the bath and he goes down to the plug hole and goes, "We pull the hairs out of here. They're really, really curly, but when we straighten them out, they're really strong." and then Marcel's just like, "Why are you laughing?" And the camera's just shaking as Dean's laughing because obviously he realises that it's just pubes that this little shell's been pulling out of the thing. It's amazing. It's a really wonderful film, and it made me cry at the end, and it's unexpectedly delightful, and I'd recommend people check it out. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is an absolute delight. So check it out. You should check it out, Alex. You'd like it.
Yeah, I've been wanting to and been meaning to watch it for a while. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, boy. Finally, sorry for taking so long. I've got for you my thoughts on the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe release.
Quantumania!
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. The worst Marvel film.
The worst?
The worst Marvel film, according to all the critics. It's got 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's been absolutely savaged.
Wow.
And destroyed. I saw it on Friday, and I've spent 2 days really desperately trying to, because I feel like as a sort of amateur film critic, I should be able to look at a movie that everyone agrees on as being bad, and see the problems with it. And I'm a biased simp for Marvel. I really liked it.
But have you noticed there's been kind of a critical war against Marvel? It's getting a little bit to everybody's got an opinion if it's not exactly what they want.
Yeah, it seems like that.
It feels like it's more like a trend that now you have to hate on Marvel rather than enjoy the ride and watch the film as what it is, which is an action sci-fi film about superheroes.
Yeah.
Has become a bit like Star Wars, hypercritical fans that think that they know what's best for a film.
A lot of the criticism around Quantumania seems to be, I'm going to read from the Rolling Stone magazine review of it for a moment, seems to be along these lines, right? This is from the middle of the review. At this point in time, anyone going into the Marvel Cinematic Universe is expected, if not required, to have committed every bit of inter-franchise minutiae to memory. There are 30 movies, and if you count the non-Disney Plus fare, 20 TV shows that claim to take place in and around an interconnected MCU. And any viewer who doesn't instantly remember every plot point, every passing reference, every potentially teased development, and Easter egg and character history and footnote to big world-altering events can quickly find themselves in the weeds. MCU culture may be the closest thing we have to a pop monoculture right now, but it requires a scholarly knowledge of a constantly updating, perpetually mutating saga playing out over too many timelines and multiverses to keep track of. And so a lot of it seems to be like, just I've made too many movies now, and it's too complicated. And yeah, but that's an amazing achievement. It's like now, people for years were going, it's incredible, this interconnected storytelling, da-da-da-da-da. And now it's at a point where people are like, too many films, I reckon. No. And it's like, how can they, the very thing you were congratulating them on 5-10 years ago is now the thing you're saying is ruining it. And it's like, look, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is a sequel to Ant-Man and the Wasp and a sequel to Ant-Man, sure, and builds on events from those two movies. And sure, there is, like, in Loki, we met He Who Remains, who is a variant of Kang the Conqueror, who is the main villain in this film, etc. If you haven't seen Loki, that's fine. You're not in the weeds. I don't understand. Like, the movie tells its own story, and is it brilliantly well told? Probably not. Like, is it a masterpiece in storytelling? No. Is it a 2-hour long, which is for a Marvel movie now would be considered short? Is it a 2-hour long bit of fun? Yes. Does it introduce things that are going to be relevant in future movies in this universe? 100%. It introduces the villain that's going to be the main villain going forwards for like the next few movies of Avengers and stuff. Sure, but it tells a story in and of its own making, and I really enjoyed it, and I don't fully understand why everyone disliked it. Just to talk about the movie itself briefly, Paul Rudd's back. I love Paul Rudd. This is a Paul Rudd movie. Like, that immediately is starting in a good position with me. Evangeline Lilly, her views on COVID and vaccines and stuff in the public domain recently have been annoying, and she seems like someone I don't like. She doesn't have despite this movie being called Ant-Man and the Wasp, it really feels like an Ant-Man movie. And because of Evangeline Lilly's issues, my issues around it, that's fine as far as I'm concerned. But you could criticise the film for kind of sidelining her character a bit if you wanted to. But then you've also got returning from the past Michael Douglas, who is great, very funny in it. You've got Michelle Pfeiffer, who is phenomenal in it, really good, and has a really big role in the film. Replacing the actors who have played the character previously, Cassie Lang, Paul Rudd's daughter in the movie, is now played by Catherine Newton, an actress who I think is great. She was in a film called Freaky, which I loved. She was in a movie she was in the Pokemon Detective Pikachu film, which I really enjoyed. To see her step up into a huge blockbuster like this, I think she does a really good job, and she's really good in the movie, and I really enjoyed her. Another newcomer to the world, not really a newcomer actually, because like I said, he was in Loki, but Jonathan Majors plays Kang in this film. Phenomenal, like really, really good. I'm really excited to see what they do with him going forwards. And yeah, the movie itself takes place primarily in the quantum realm, tiny little microscopic dimension that exists underneath our own, that our lead 4 characters, our family of shrinking people, get sucked into at the start of the movie, and the plot of the movie is their attempts to get home. And the quantum realm, it turns out, is basically Star Wars. So we've got cantina bars with weird aliens in, and we've got like rebels fighting the evil empire and all of this stuff, and like you can tell that Star Wars is a huge influence on the film. And I'm here for it. I am absolutely here for, like, Kang is basically Darth Vader or the Emperor. He's got what is essentially stormtroopers that we're fighting against. Like, none of this is particularly original, but it looks nice. It's very CGI heavy, but at this point, I don't care anymore. Like, it would be. Would it be better if it was practical effects? Yes. Does it matter? Not to my enjoyment of the film. It's fine. It's just a fun sci-fi weird romp. It's not a masterpiece. It won't go down as the best Marvel movie.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it, and I think people should have an open mind. And I think if you had only watched Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, you would understand this film. There would be nothing in this movie that you wouldn't grasp. It's fine. Okay? It's your turn.
Do you not want to talk about episode 4 and 5 of The Last of Us?
Yeah, well, we can segue into your culture catch-up now.
Yeah, so... Yeah, well, very quickly, because I don't know if you then would like to do a special at some point.
I'd really want to do a special on it, but we can talk about it. Okay. We can talk about it a little bit. What did you think of episode 4 and 5 as a non-game player?
Episode 4 and 5 as a non-game player, I've realised now that I should not... anybody that comes into this in every episode, unless it is Joel or Ellie, I should not like them. Or at least I should not form an emotional bond with them, because I know that I'm going to regret it and be upset about it.
Interestingly, that's true for the first game.
Yeah.
But when they adapt the second game, that's less true. There are characters you can form strong emotional bonds with there that won't be brutally murdered within 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah. So this series has been a bit of a climax until now. Like we haven't had much action until episode 4. There has been a bit of action in the first episode, but then it's been quite mellow. And then we had episode 3, which we all loved with Frank and Bill, which was lovely. And then they leave Frank and Bill's, and and in episode 4. We find another world, because they're driving and they can't get through, and so they have to drive into
Kansas City, is it?
Kansas City, and there's been a revolution.
The People's Militia have taken over.
So this revolution has happened against Fedra, which are the government. I think is the
yeah, and as Bill said in episode 3, they're effectively just Nazis. So
they're Nazis,
not good people.
No, they're definitely terrible people. And so there's been this revolution, but because they have to protect themselves, they're revolutionaries, they're also going against their own people, which have been spies. So in episode 4, it's very scary. Episode 4 is quite scary, because they meet other humans, and at the moment the things that you're most scared of are not the fungi. Other humans. And so they meet these humans, and you're terrified about other humans. You're not actually terrified about the fungi. So that's quite fun to do. And of course, Joel is the coolest guy and shoots everybody down. And God, I love that guy. I love Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's phenomenal.
Have you seen an interview where I think he did an SNL recently, and he did like this Valley girl accent.
Oh, is that when he's in a hospital bed?
Yeah.
And he keeps breaking... Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah.
It's very good.
But then he does an interview in a late night show, and it's just funny how he talks about The Last of Us in this Valley girl. We can watch it in MyTube if you want. It's so funny. And I just love him. He's so lovely. And I love Ellie. And, they're fighting and they go up spaces and stuff like that. And so that's quite terrifying. But they manage to escape, but then at the end of the episode they meet
Henry and Sam. Well, they're good people. They're not bad.
I don't want to talk about it, so let's move on.
Really?
I don't want to talk about it. They meet Harry and Sam, and they're good people, and they help each other. Sam is deaf.
Your internet doesn't want to talk about it either.
No?
You just froze for a moment, but you're back, it's fine.
Sam is deaf, and...
interestingly, not in the game.
Not in the game, but he is really nice. He's deaf, and I loved watching the making of the episode where everybody tried to learn ASL, and Bella Ramsey said that they thought that that was one of the best episodes because they loved working with the actor. What's his name? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm
the actor that plays Sam, and it was really good that they cast an actual deaf child. And I don't know. I like that episode. They help each other. They leave Kansas, but then while they leave Kansas, there's like mushrooms. The fungi come out.
They do. We see,
but they come out with a vengeance.
We
We
see a bloater.
A bloater. Why was he so big?
Well, the idea in the game is that the normal infected that just look like normal people broadly, but have like a bit of fungus on their face.
Yeah,
they've been recently infected. The clickers, where the mushroom has sort of erupted over their head, and they use sonar. They've been infected for a while.
Yeah.
The bloaters are supposed to be supposedly, that's someone who was infected basically when it happened 20 years ago and has just been
huge,
like
horrible.
And I think the idea is that they were infected a very long time ago, and then they haven't really been able to. They've been trapped somewhere, so the infection has just sort of grown over them over the years and turn them into this huge. In the game, they rip off bits of their own body and fling it at you. It's horrible.
Oh my god. That scene was insane. I screamed at this at my laptop. I was like, "What? No! Go, run, stop!" It was insane. I loved every second of that episode until the end. I'm not going to like anybody else from now on. I promise. I'm very cold. Anybody that comes, I don't care about them. Okay.
Well,
no.
Wait.
I don't want to care.
Wait for David.
I don't want to care.
You like David.
My heart has been broken already twice, and it's only episode 5.
Okay.
Maybe 3 times.
David's safe.
4.
When David arrives, you'll see.
Fine.
David, you can get invested in.
Fine.
Okay.
No, it's still a great show. I'm really enjoying it. I enjoy the fact that things feel like a video game sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're hiding behind a car and you're invisible in a way.
That happens in that exact sequence.
Yeah.
And you have to, as Joel, run around and get up behind the sniper guy in the house and stuff like that. All is in the game.
And it's quite wonderful that you can think that this is a video game. It is inspired. Is from a video game, and that it does feel like a video game where you're protected by the car. In reality, there were so many people they're not protected by a car, and I like that and the fact that there is time to think and not just like attack.
Yeah.
And then when the sinkhole opens and all the fungi come out, you're just like, oh, and everybody's just watching without doing anything for a while. And I just
those kind of moments, a bit like, what the hell do I do about this?
And it's quite fun to watch it. And
two little bits of game fan trivia for you. 3 bits actually. Number 1, that sequence in the game, which is one of the best parts of the game. It's a sort of faceless militia. None of them are ever characterized in any way. They're just enemies that you fight against. So like the character Kathleen was invented whole cloth for the show. Melanie Linsky.
Perfect.
Phenomenal actress.
Yeah,
Don't you dare say anything negative about Melanie Linsky.
Some people have.
Incredible. I know, and those people are
which is ridiculous. She's so great.
Somebody posted a photo of her that she did, like a photo shoot she did for a magazine where she looks quite glamorous with the caption, "Does this look like the body of somebody who lives in a..." No, because she doesn't live in a post-apocalypse, moron. What do you want her to do? God's sake, she's so good in that role. And the fact really that they wrote, and again, this is the thing that's annoyed people, but the fact that they wrote the leader of the militia as being like a sort of Karen rather than being, like the guy, her mate with the beard, another show would have just had him be the leader. Yeah. But no, makes it so much more interesting to have her be why is she, people are like, why would they listen to her? Why would she be in control? That's what makes it interesting. Why is she in control? We'll never really know, but there must be some reason, something about her. Anyway, that's number 1. Number 2, the guy with the big beard, right? He's actually the actor that plays Joel's brother in the game. Oh. And he's got a very distinctive voice. It's really odd hearing him in the show. Yeah. And number 3, when the bloater grabs that guy and rips his head off, that is an animation that happens to Joel if you get caught by a bloater in the game.
Wow.
Yeah. a cool little Easter egg moment. So yeah, amazing stuff.
Amazing.
What else have we got?
What else have we got? So I watched a couple of movies. I watched a movie written and directed by Dave Franco and also written by his wife, Alison Brie, and starring Alison Brie. The film is called Somebody I Used to Know.
No, that's a Gautier song, Alex.
Yeah, but it's also it's a great song.
Yeah,
Somebody used to know. And it stars Alison Brie, which I love, adore. She's amazing. As Ali, a workaholic, that her show has been cancelled. Her show is called Desert Wars and is in a desert. It's a stupid reality TV show.
Wait, Desert Wars or Desert Wars?
I don't know. Desert Wars. It's about desert, but on an island. Island Desert Wars. I don't know. I just felt that concept of a reality TV show was so meta and stupid that already annoyed me about this film, and where we're going towards. And then she's a workaholic, and that's kind of her thing, and her show gets cancelled. Her reality show gets cancelled, so she decides to go home, and in a bar randomly she meets her ex-boyfriend, played by Jay Ellis, who I love from the show Insecure. And they kind of have a really fun night together, and kind of reminiscing about how they used to love each other, but then you don't know they love each other. Like it's a really weird. You only find that out later,
or if you've watched the trailer,
or if you watch the trailer. Well, basically the trailer tells you everything.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen the movie because I've seen the trailer.
Yeah. Basically, you have seen the movie, and so then the next day she finds out that he is getting married, and suddenly in a town where she hasn't been for 10 years, everybody's like her best friend, and one of her best friends is Danny Pudi, another fantastic person from Community. And in a way, that's why I watched this film, because I love Alison Brie, I love Danny Pudi, I love Community. Together they would be incredible. And basically is just her trying to figure out if she still wants Sean or not. So just something with this film just didn't work for me. I thought the writing was terrible.
Oh no.
There's a lot of toilet humor, and the jokes are just not funny, and the chemistry between the characters is completely off. Like Jay Ellis is the one of the main characters in Insecure, and he has chemistry even with the tables. He's a beautiful actor, but he didn't have chemistry with none of the two. Neither Alison Brie, who is his ex-girlfriend, neither Kissy Clemens, who plays Cassidy, his wife. It just didn't work. It was and for some reason I felt it was a lost opportunity. Like, I love when you can make romantic comedies a little bit different.
I read that because they said their main inspiration when writing it and making it was the sort of Nora Ephron types of romantic comedies like Sleepless in Seattle, where it's sort of not laugh out loud silly jokes all the time, but sort of like jokes that are built up properly and based on character and stuff like that. And I kind of thought you'd like it because I know that you like Sleepless in Seattle and Nora Ephron stuff and things.
But I like romantic comedies, but the jokes they put were not intelligent jokes. Like I said, it was very toilet humor joke. Yeah. And it was weird. It just didn't. They were trying to make a point about something. They were trying to be different in the kind of romantic comedy where not necessarily the two people that you want to get together. But I didn't. It was just a mixture between different films with bad writing and no chemistry, and I don't know.
Well.
And it kind of made me a little bit upset because I love Alison Brie and I don't like not liking her in a film. and with the amount of like experience that these, especially Alison Brie and Dave Franco, have in the comedy world, to make such such a film that has not funny at all. It was just like, what a missed opportunity. Who watched this film and went, oh, this is great? I don't know.
Well, it's interesting that Dave Franco's last movie was his take on a home invasion horror film, which I really like home invasion type horror films, and I thought it was awful. I hated it so much. And now his next movie is trying to do a sort of Nora Ephron style romantic comedy, which is the kind of movie that you're into.
Yeah.
And he's done a bad job of that. So is he just going to keep picking genres and making hateful films?
Yeah.
I don't even dislike Dave Franco too much. I just don't know what his...
That's why I'm upset. I'm like, I like you. I like Alison Brie. I like the actors that were in this film. But you made me just... And I thought about it after, and I was so angry. I was just like, why did you make such a bad film?
Yeah.
Not bad, just so shallow. It was a very shallow film, just extremely shallow. There was nothing. It was about, a woman that chooses a man. In 2023, you don't need to choose a relationship or your career. You this pretty much, we passed that. Let's make something different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sorry. I really wanted to like it, and I didn't. But it didn't do too badly. Like on Rotten Tomatoes, like 73%. So it's people have enjoyed it. But I haven't. Sorry.
Pity.
Next film I watched a film, a 3 hour and 7 minute long
I know
Indian film, RRR. OMG, what to say about this film? So it's an Indian film about two figures, revolutionary figures, fighting against the British Raj. And they both have different agendas, but they get together to then create this like superhero.
And in reality, they never met, right?
They never met. Yeah. No, they never met. So it's basically like if these two revolutionaries met, what would have happened?
Yeah.
They never met. But in this film, they meet, and oh boy. And this is their journey to fight against the British Empire. It's incredible. It's like one of the most over-the-top, entertaining films I've ever seen. It's got wild stunts, and then it just cuts into some kind of like incredible dancing, Desi dancing. And then it goes to like really emotional, like, oh, the British Empire is awful, and you cry. And then in the next scene, there are tigers and wolves have been gathered to like fight the British Empire. And then it's incredible. It's so much fun. You feel all of the emotions you can possibly feel. And it's amazing. I would recommend anyone to watch it. It's too long, it's too action-packed to exactly tell you exactly what happens, but it's amazing. And I usually out of a 3 hour film by the 2 hours, I'm like, oh, has it finished yet? It just basically went like this. It just went so quickly because it's so entertaining. And the two main actors that play Bheem and Raju are amazing. They're really fun. The director really wanted to like show that male friendship is really important, so they have this real bromance in the film that you love. And when they realize they kind of it's the classic film where the two main people don't really tell each other that they're both fighting for the same thing. So at one point, one thinks it's a traitor and the other, like, they're both traitors. And when the bromance ends, you're just like upset, and it's amazing. It's so good. George, I think you will love it.
Yeah.
The only annoying thing that I found, and it was a criticism of the director as well. You can find this film on Netflix, and it's It's filmed in Telugu, which is one of the languages that are in India, but it's dubbed in Hindi.
Why?
And so you think you're watching it in the main language, Hindi, and then after the first half hour, I was really confused. And so I just watched it in English. So that's the annoying bit that and the director criticized Netflix for that because
What?
I know.
What? Why? What?
I know.
Why?
I know.
Why?
Hopefully they'll put it in Telugu soon because that would be interesting to watch it in the actual language that it was filmed. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
But if you watch it in English, it's okay. I know, but it's definitely worth watching it. It's
just
so much fun.
Watching dubbed stuff.
Me too. And it was weird because we're like, oh, we're not watching a dub. But then it wasn't matching. And I was like, what?
I watched a movie. I didn't talk about it on the podcast. I watched a movie a couple of months ago called The Witch, not that one, a Korean film on Shudder. And this is worse than even what you're describing. On Shudder, The Witch is in Korean, as it should be, as it was filmed.
Yeah.
But over the course of the movie, the subtitles slip out of sync, so that by about the halfway point, the words at the bottom of the screen are the words that were said by the mouth of a person like 5 seconds earlier, and you're watching someone else say something in response to the words. Awful. Just do it properly. International cinema, respect it, please, and stop.
Yeah. And the other thing is, this is one thing that might irritate you. So you have to just go with the flow. You know how much I hate dubbing. And so the film is dubbed and in English, and is dubbed by Indian actors. But what they say doesn't match the subtitles. So
What? Okay. But you can turn the can you turn the subtitles off?
I hope you can turn the subtitles off. I usually watch stuff with subtitles anyway if I miss something. So
I nearly swore. Yeah. I nearly swore then on our podcast out of annoyance.
Yeah, but it's so much fun, and also very sad, but also very fun.
So you can watch it in
are incredible.
English,
it's insane.
Turkish, Portuguese, Hindi, or Spanish, but not in the actual languages originally.
No. And the director was very angry about that.
I can't see any subtitles on screen right now. Yeah, it looks like although it's just people punching each other. No one's talking.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Yeah, no, you can watch it without subtitles.
Okay, good.
Stupid film.
Yes,
good film. Stupid Netflix. Sorry, go on.
And it's the highest gross. Is the highest grossing Indian film ever made. Like, it's insane. And
people have been talking about this film non-stop for every year since it came out. Yeah. People have been obsessed with it, and it's 3 hours long.
Just watch it with people. I watched it drinking some gin. It was wonderful. It was such a ride. Okay. It's so much fun. And then I watched a series on Disney Plus called Extraordinary.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and it's a hero film.
It's a superhero sitcom.
Yeah, it's a superhero sitcom. Yeah, based in London, and it's a reality where when you turn 18, you will get a superpower. It could be anything. It could be like as cool as flying, or invisibility, to 3D printing or making PDFs. So getting a power is completely random. Right. And the main character, Jen, is now 25 and she still hasn't received her power.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
So it's a bit like Encanto. She still received her power, and she feels kind of left out and a little bit not good about herself. But all of this is just kind of it's just a sitcom with like some friends have just graduated from uni and they all live in a house in London, and they've got crappy jobs or they don't have any jobs, and they have casual sex, and they take drugs, and it's quite fun because it's quite a good oxymoron.
Disney Plus.
Superpowers, and also no more kids living their life in London, so it's quite it's good, it's fun. I think the first few episodes are really great because it's kind of different and everybody's got these powers, and the powers sometimes are really silly, and it's kind of a fun kind of coming of age after university kind of feeling. But then it kind of gets a bit repetitive towards the end, and I liked it, but I hope the second season they can explore like something a little bit different and make it more fun. But it's good. It's fun. It's a fun watch. And then an album recommendation, an album that I listened to. This is My 21st Century Blues by an artist called Raye. She's a British artist that has been trying to release an album for years, but her record label wouldn't allow it, which sounds ridiculous. Just because her, I think she got signed after releasing like an EP, self-releasing an EP, got signed by by Polydor, and then they didn't. They didn't give her a record. They told her not to. She couldn't release a record because apparently one of her like another EP that she released was a flop. But it's like, it's not all about the money, it's about releasing music, isn't it? That's what an artist wants to do, but these record labels want to just make a lot of money. And I really enjoyed it. It's like compilations of songs that she wanted to release, and they're fun. There's one that's really popular on TikTok, so I already heard that a few times. But I think it's a really different album, and with a lot of personality and a lot of kind of.
I don't agree.
No, you don't like it?
I think it's ambitious but uneven.
You're reading that bloody Pitchfork thing. I read that and I was like, I completely disagree. I think it's really varied and really fun. And the only song they like is the single Black Mascara. It's like, piss off, Pitchfork. You only listen to that song.
Well, they say they like escapism.
Whatever. And but there's one song that I really liked, which is called Environmental Anxiety, which is about how, we treat the world. And I just really like how she did it, and how by the end of the song there's this laughter that then gets kind of what does Pitchfork say?
It tries to cover so much ground that it occasionally feels glib.
They haven't listened to the album. Are you going to listen to the album now that Pitchfork has?
No, because I feel like she's still trying to work out what she wants to say. Once she realises what she wants to say and is less uneven and fulfills her ambitions rather than fails to meet them, I might listen to her music.
Shut up. I hate don't mention Pitchfork.
No, I had ignored it because I saw that bad Pitchfork review and hadn't seen any mention of it anywhere else. But looking it up now, I can see that The Guardian gave it 4 out of 5, The Independent gave it 5 out of 5, Enemy gave it 4 out of 5, Telegraph gave it 5 out of 5. I can see that it's been well reviewed. But I hadn't seen any of those reviews. I'd just seen the Pitchfork review and been like, oh, I guess, I don't know, what, didn't bother with it. But now I will listen to it.
Because what I do now, I don't read reviews before listening to an album. I just listen to an album, and then I go to Pitchfork to make me like the album even more. Yeah. So I like this album, and then I read the Pitchfork review, and I was like, I love this album, Pitchfork, like with the Rina Sawayama album.
Oh yeah, I mean, I hadn't even heard of her. Like, I just didn't know who she was at all. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
To listen to, but yeah, cool.
Yeah, the what I like also about the album is it starts with somebody presenting Raye, and you expecting like an American voice because the presenter is American, and then you have Raye, who's British, speaking, And then at the end of the album, she thanks people for listening to the album. And I quite like that because it's quite humble to say, oh, thank you for taking the time to listen to my album. And I think that was quite nice.
That's the British way.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sorry. Thank you. And that's it for my week. It's
quite the week. Okay, you ready to watch some movie trailers?
Movie. Yeah.
Good. Start with a bad one.
Oh, is that The Flash?
No.
Oh, even worse.
Ooh, you'll see.
Oh, exciting times. So, Judge is presenting Children of the Corn. What the?
The Children of the Corn. Are you ready for the Children of the Corn?
I'm ready for the Children of the Corn.
Good.
It's a bad trailer.
We'll see. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
This is the new adaptation of the Children of the Corn.
What is that? Oh, okay.
Prepare to witness the horrific rise of the next generation of
Oh, wow. So we're in America in the...
This is based on a
Big
Stephen
fields.
King story.
based on the short story.
Sorry. Okay. So there's already been an adaptation.
There's been like 10 Children of the Corn films.
Okay.
Stephen King.
And there's a cornfield. I would never go into a cornfield. I'd be too scared. There's too many bad things happening in cornfields.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you know. So is it like a place run by evil
It's
children?
an evil children film, which I'm always
Love
a little
it.
bit on board for.
So hard sometimes.
Okay, because children are evil.
But I can help with your pain.
Oh,
Brace yourself.
okay.
He who walks.
And the adults have been
took care
put in prison.
Maybe? Or just
now I'm going to
smashed up in the head.
Like killing all the adults.
Wow.
For starters.
Okay. So they're in prison and these kids are going to kill the adults because they're the children of corn. They're wild.
Come on! This is our world now!
Oh, and they're properly going at it. They're burning the city. They've got blood on their faces.
Things are exploding.
Explosions.
Everyone's on fire.
Burn!
Children.
Do you not think it's going to be good?
Well, I think the voiceover ruins the trailer.
Children of the corn.
Based on the story by Stephen King.
An epic journey through evil children.
It's like a 90s trailer, right? It feels like a 90s trailer. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of that trailer?
I'm not going to watch Children of the Corn unless you make me watch it. I don't care.
Well, I'll let you know. Oh, what's going on? I don't want to stop it. Can't watch.
I don't care, just like... Is it a good book, at least?
I haven't read the book, actually. It's based on a lot of... There is a lot of... There's a lot of... What am I looking to say to you here?
I have no idea.
There's a lot of...
Yes? Of what?
Children
There's
of the Corn movies.
Oh.
Like a lot of them.
Like too many.
Well, they made one, and then they made like 15 more or something, but they're all like made for TV ones, so they're bad. So this is like a reboot. I've never seen...
It's on Shudder.
It's on Shudder.
Be okay.
No, that is not a sign of quality. That is... I told you about the Lair.
Oh, yeah,
Did I not
true,
tell you about
yeah.
the Lair?
Yeah.
We'll see. I think it does look all right, actually, but it could be terrible. Okay, you ready for this?
The Flash. Is this a good trailer?
I'm not going to say anything. You're just going to watch it.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Tell me something. You can go anywhere. Another time.
Okay, so Ezra Miller with his potato face
Another universe.
is there.
So why do you want to stay?
And it's very serious, like always. I don't know why they have to make it serious. It's the Flash. That's why I like Marvel. It's not serious.
Well, just keep watching.
My mom lives.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lose her again.
Oh, my mom lives. Sorry. Sorry. Just don't like Ezra Miller.
Time has a pattern
Okay.
that it can't help reliving.
Oh, is he going to go around the world for 65 times and go right back in time like Superman did?
Possibly.
Oh. Magnets.
My face.
Oh, there are two Ezras.
Multiple Millers.
Wow.
If you were to go into the past,
So that's why we have to keep this film and fight and not the others.
Bruce, I could fix things.
Oh, this film is already annoying me.
This can't be happening.
Oh, Ben is back. Ben Affleck as the Batman. Was he not fired?
No.
we've been
Ah.
waiting for you.
I created a world
Oh.
with no metahumans. And now
I'm
there's
sorry.
no one to defend us.
There's too many like, this is not right. I created a world. Just toomps. Oh, what? Is he becoming Batman? Is the Flash becoming Batman? Okay.
You are.
The Batman's becoming Batman. Who's that? Is that Michael Keaton?
Yep.
Why? No! I don't want to. Are they trying to do a Spider-Man here? They could not do it. People won't remember him.
I
Apart from
remember him.
us. Yeah, I don't know what I said. Just
If I can't get back,
just do your own thing, DC. Don't try and make Marvel films. Like if they put a potato there instead of Ezra Miller, it will be the same kind of acting.
what do we do?
There won't be a future. Whose Batman is that? Is that was that still Michael Keaton?
It's not Clark.
Oh my god, no.
Kara.
I'm
Well, we're Barry.
Barry, what are
It
you
looks
doing?
bad, doesn't it? Or is it just
You're gonna
me?
wanna see this.
What? Is that Superman? Superwoman?
Supergirl.
Who is she? Supergirl.
Supergirl.
What do you think about this trailer?
I don't like Ezra Miller. But I understand why they haven't cancelled it. Like the Batgirl movie, which I really want to see, and I'm annoyed they cancelled it. But the Batgirl movie was made for streaming and was quite a cheap film. This movie will have cost over $200 million to make, and just has to be released in order for them to try and make any money back because they are in like serious financial difficulties. So I
It looks bad.
I don't think it does look bad. I think it looks
Okay.
potentially okay.
I just say when there's just so much tension, it's like it's just a Flash movie, and this is the world I want to live in.
Yeah, but you can
It's
say
just
that
weird.
about any
No,
superhero film, I think.
not necessarily.
But it's based on Flashpoint, which is this one where he does go to other dimensions and meet characters from other dimensions and stuff. And they're bringing in Michael Keaton, which kind of I like Michael Keaton a lot, so I'm on board for him being in it. Like I said, Ezra Miller, don't really care. I don't think Ezra Miller's going to play the Flash again. I don't know if this movie's going to be any good, but I think it looks better than Black Adam, and I think it looks better than Shazam, which is also not cancelled and is coming out and looks terrible.
Okay.
The only one that's really cancelled is Batgirl, which was a bad thing that they shouldn't have done. But and then James Gunn, who I don't like, is going to make. I used to like a lot. Now I'm very bored of James Gunn, and he's going to make a bunch. There's going to be a Superman movie, and there's going to be a new Batman movie called Batman. It's not even called Batman. It's called like The Brave and the Bold or something. It's going to be Batman and his son, who's Robin, which is from. That's a thing. That's not. They've not made that up. But then I like Robert Pattinson's Batman film. I want them to just do that. I don't know why now there's going to be yet another Batman. But then they're making stuff like they're going to make a Swamp Thing film, and I'm there for a Swamp Thing film. I want to see a Swamp Thing movie. So I don't know, but the Flash movie I think could potentially be something. Also, it's directed by the guy that made It, Andy Muschietti, who's a good director. It's just a pity that Ezra Miller is in it, but I don't know. We'll see.
Can I show you? I want to show you Pedro Pascal.
Sure.
So he did the SNL bit, which is really funny. I'm gonna show you like a bit. They're talking about how fun the Pedro Pascal doing the Valley Girl accent was in SNL. He's so lovely because he's just so like unaware of how great he is.
Things I want to ask you about. First of all, I was so tickled by this sketch where you woke up in a coma from a coma. It seems a line.
He's just such a goof, isn't he?
Yeah, he is a goof.
And they were like, no. What are you talking about? Papa. This is the why.
Yeah, we would talk like that on the set of The Last of Us. It started with
which I guess you have to do to like deal with what you're processing on the lab.
Yeah, deal with somebody dying every episode in front of you.
Now I'm gonna watch The Last of Us with my wife, and at the end of every episode, I'll be like, "That was so sad."
Oh my god! Exactly.
Those mushrooms mean business.
No kidding. I can't believe it died.
It was like my favorite one.
Oh no, what's gonna happen now? I'm telling you, it was very
It's so cute. Like
So
I
good,
love
so
it. Like
nice.
what's gonna happen next? Yeah, he's lovely. Yeah, love Pedro.
I love Pedro. I love the. Did you ever watch The Mandalorian?
I think I watched a few of the first season, but I'm gonna watch.
Yeah,
some more.
I mean it's not as much because it's all him in the suit and stuff, but you know it's Pedro Pascal. He's good.
Pedro, yes.
He's bloody brilliant. The only thing is, no, I guess he's fine. But that second Wonder Woman movie that he plays the bad guy in is a mess. But
yeah, but it's just a messy film, isn't it?
yeah. But you know he does what they asked him to do. It's just very weird. Okay.
Yeah.
That brings us to the end of this episode number 94 of Culture Bucket Podcast. Just time for some recommendations. I think people should watch Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, and also Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Stop and just have a not open mind. It's not as if you have to support Marvel. They're the biggest thing in the business, but just I don't know. I think it's good. I like Paul Rudd.
Have some fun, guys.
Yeah, have some fun. All right, what would you recommend people do?
I would recommend, of course, to watch RRR. Great film.
Is that about
fun.
pirates?
It's about pirates. Yes. No, it's not about pirates. And I would recommend to watch, to listen to the album by Raye, My 21st Century Blues.
My 21st Century Blues. Interesting. Not somebody that I used to know.
Nope. Well, no, watch it and let me know what you think. Maybe I'm just overreacting.
But it's not,
Maybe
it's
I was
not a
expecting too much.
recommendation. It's just a go and...
Yeah.
Okay.
Give us your opinions. I would like to know what you think about this film. You can find it on Amazon Prime. Very easy.
Very easy. Very easy.
Very easy.
Very easy. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for that. This has been episode number 94 of the Culture Bucket Podcast. Please join us next week for episode 95, where we'll be doing Culture Bucket of Our Lives 2006 through to 2015. Can't wait for you to join us for that. Oh, and rate and review us on everything and get bars of coffee if you'd like to. Link in the link tree, which is on the link for the show notes of this episode.
Yes, please.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.